All right, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is, wherever in the world it is that you are. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayers Live, page by page reading and commentary of the modern English version of the Bible. So we've made it into the second book of Samuel. Today is the first day of the second book of Samuel, chapter 1. And it goes into the theme of David mourning for Saul. It also goes into the lament of David, which includes a poem or a song, which yesterday I know I said I was going to get the song together using the AI before I did this stream, but that didn't exactly happen. Sorry about that. I will try to get it done after this stream. But today was a little bit of a busy day, but I had a good day. I had to reconfigure a few things schedule wise, which is always a little bit annoying, but that's all right. And I'm consciously making an effort to find joy at least twice in something I'm doing every day. Um, it's just a piece of advice that somebody gave me not too long ago, so I'm trying it out. And I am pretty good at finding things that I enjoy doing or just finding some sort of happiness in things going on in my day-to-day life. Something I want to recommend to a lot of you out there who like 70s and 80s music. There's a guy on YouTube who has the handle King Carl hyphen V3V. Actually, I'll put it in the chat for anyone who's watching or listening to this later. King Carl hyphen V as in victory, 3 V as in victory. But he plays a really good assortment of music. Um, I think he's done some party DJing and whatnot. But he could probably be a professional DJ if he wanted to be, but he plays the kind of playlist that kind of is a metaphorical time machine, and I've just noticed that myself and some of my peers who I know online who are around my age tend to gravitate toward his streams when he, does his DJ session, so I just kinda wanted to recommend that to a lot of you who might be feeling a little down, you know. I wouldn't say that I'm dealing with depression at the moment or really over the past few days, which is great. But sometimes music really is what lifts you up. And it depends on the type of music, of course. But I think as we get older, we do tend to bond more with people who are in our age range because you've had similar experiences being that person that you bond with is in your age range. And plus you and whoever that other person is, you manage to live. Because once you get into your 40s, things do become a little bit iffy, you know? People start dropping like flies. So appreciate your peers who are your age. You don't have to agree with them on everything, but you do need the company. So anyway, let's go ahead and read this. Second book of Samuel, chapter 1. David mourns for Saul. After the death of Saul, when David had returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites, David had remained 2 days in Ziklag. On the third day, behold, a man came from the camp of Saul with his clothes torn and dirt upon his head. As he approached David, he fell to the ground prostrate. David asked him, "Where have you come from?" He responded, I fled from the camp of Israel. David said to him, "Tell me, what is the report?" So he reported, "The people fled from battle. Many of the people have fallen and died. Even Saul and his son Jonathan are dead." Then David asked the young man who was reporting to him, "How do you know that Saul and his son Jonathan are dead?" The young man who was reporting to him answered, "I happened to be on Mount Gilboa when, in front of me, Saul was leaning on his spear, and behold, the chariots and the horsemen were close behind him. When he turned around, he noticed me. He summoned me, and I responded, 'Here I am.' He asked me, 'Who are you?' I answered, 'I am an Amalekite.' Then he said to me, 'Stand over me and kill me, for I have been mortally wounded, yet I am still alive.' So I stood beside him and killed him, because I knew that he could not live after he had fallen. Then I took the crown that was on his head and the armlet that was on his arm, and I have brought them here to my Lord." Then David took hold of his clothes and tore them, as did all of the men who were with him. They mourned and wept and fasted until evening for Saul, Jonathan, his son, the people of the Lord, and the house of Israel, because they have fallen by the sword. Wow. David would have had some pretty mixed emotions about that when I think about it. Actually, this is a little confusing because I thought it was I thought it was Sal's armor bearer who killed him, but apparently not. Apparently, this is a little bit different in this chapter. But David would have really missed Jonathan probably more than Sal, because Sal had stalked him for such a long time. But maybe, sometimes you get used to certain negatives in your life. So maybe David would miss the stalking of Sal. I don't know. Then David asked the young man who was reporting to him, "Where are you from?" He responded, "I am the son of one who sought refuge, an Amalekite." David said to him, "How is it that you did not fear raising your hand to destroy the anointed of the Lord?" Then David called to one of the young men and said, "Step forward and execute him." So he struck him and killed him. But David said to him, "Your blood is upon your own head, since your mouth has testified against you, saying, 'I put an end to the anointed of the Lord.'" Hmm. I almost wonder if this young guy lied, because at the end of the last chapter, actually he did, because the it was actually his armor bearer who killed Saul. So this guy lied to David, and David was able to figure out that he lied. That's why he was okay with killing him. Interesting. The lament of David. Then David recited this lament over Saul and Jonathan, his son, and he told them to teach the sons of Judah the song of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jashar. Your splendor, O Israel, has been slain upon your hills. How the mighty ones have fallen. Do not report it in Gath. Do not announce it in the streets of Ashkelon, lest the daughters of the Philistines rejoice, or the daughters of the uncircumcised exult. O mountains of Gilboa, may there be no rain or dew upon you, or your bountiful fields. For there the shield of the mighty was defiled. The shield of Saul is no longer anointed with oil. From the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, The bow of Jonathan did not turn back, nor did the sword of Saul return empty. Saul and Jonathan, beloved and delightful, neither in life nor death will they be separated. They were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions. O daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet and jewels, who adorned your garments with gold jewelry. How the mighty ones have fallen in the midst of battle. Jonathan was slain on your high place. I am distressed for you, my brother Jonathan. You were very dear to me. Your love was more remarkable than the love of women. How the mighty have fallen, and the weapons of war have perished. I'm going to go back to the first book of Samuel 31, just to go over again how Saul actually died, because I guess they don't outright say it in the first book of the second, in the second book of the first chapter of Samuel, but yeah, that guy who approached David lied. Okay, because here's what it says. Now the Philistines were fighting against Israel, and Israel's fighting men fled before the Philistines, and they fell slain on Mount Gilboa. The Philistines overtook Saul and his sons, and the Philistines killed his sons, Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchishua, Saul's sons. The battle was heavy against Saul. The archers found him, and he was severely wounded by the archers. Then Saul said to his armor bearer, "Draw your sword and thrust me through with it." So his armor bearer wouldn't do it because he was scared. So Saul took his sword and he killed himself with it. All right. So the guy who approached David and said that he'd been the one to let's see. Yeah, when he said that he was the one to have killed Saul because he was mortally wounded. Okay, here's what it says. Then he said to me, and this is what the guy who was the imposter basically said to David. Then he said to me, "Stand over me and kill me, for I have been mortally wounded, yet I am still alive." So I stood beside him and killed him. So that wasn't true. That was a lie that this guy told David. And David was just like, "Really? You're going to lie to me?" I'm not laughing at that young man having been killed, but he shouldn't have lied to David. So, anyway, that's it for tonight. I'm going to go ahead and make that AI song later this evening, and I'll play it for you guys tomorrow when we go into the second book of Samuel, chapter 2. Have a good evening, everybody. Bye bye.